right, of course, because I should know who that is.
I don't care what you think. I'll tell you something that rubbed me right.
Felder and Maz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Giannis is either going to be a Boston Celtic or a Miami Heat.
Correct. And both deals are vastly different. With the Boston deal, you have a Jaylen Brown superstar-led package. There are additional pieces, but there aren't
a piece of that.
Not to my knowledge. But in Miami, there are more players involved there. There's more cost-controlled rookie-scale contracts involved there. There's more draft capital involved there. And so it's two totally different packages, and that's why Milwaukee is going to have to take time here today to sift through. This is a massive decision for this franchise. It's included weeks and weeks of intense trade conversations. These negotiations have been, a bloodbath, to put it lightly. And so now you're at the end, and I think they have the picture. They have everything on their whiteboard, and they're going to have to go and make a decision.
The question is this. Yeah. So here's the question. Is Boston or Miami going to say something today to Milwaukee to try to put them over the top? So they want it to me. We're going to spend the next 12 hours thinking about it. Yeah. And if you want to call us, you can call us. That's part of the game that's being played right now.
Again, more from Shams, Brian Windhorst this morning on ESPN. If the Celtics really offering the Bucks Jaylen Brown plus 27th pick tomorrow night, or Hugo Gonzalez, and as Stewart sort of implied there, Celtics taking on another bad contract like Miles Turner or Kevin Kuzma.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, whatever, that guy. How many teams has he been on by now?
A bunch.
Have the Bucks not said yes already?
I agree.
So have they not said yes, or have they said yes, and it's embargoed till draft night just to wrap it into a big day of NBA programming tomorrow?
I mean, to me, I lean towards the second thing because I always think there's a lag. But beyond that, Giannis has been in Greece, and he's flying back to the United States yesterday.
That's going to your intel.
According to my intel, he was at the airport in Athens going through security to leave the country yesterday.
Maz's Greek boots on the ground. I was going to
say, we have Aussie Maz. Do we have Greek Maz?
Look, Greece and Italy aren't that far apart. Okay? Mediterranean countries are Mediterranean countries. We all like to eat and talk. Sometimes we do it together.
So Giannis was headed back from Greece yesterday.
He was headed back from Greece yesterday. Yep, that's right.
So this is why Shams was off last week, not really dabbing in on this.
I mean, if you're asking my conspiracy theory, they told him disappear for a while.
Yep.
He's like, I'm going to Greece anyway. Okay, we'll let you know when something happens, but you should probably be back here for the draft.
Well, for the programming, to maximize our programming window, why don't we just all save this for the draft? And Shams, you can just relax. Because Shams wrote nothing on this last week.
Correct.
Nothing. We brought this up at the end of the week. Like, strangely silent. Where's this guy? So they tell Shams, just stand down for a week. Kind of like they tell these NFL reporters, don't tweet out the draft pick before it happens. Yeah, we know you know, but just do us a favor. Help us with the TV show. So the NBA tells Shams, just stand. So that's why Shams is tweeting out nonsense like Kendrick Perkins stuff. Like, and
right.
he's reporting out on Kendrick Perkins.
Right.
But nothing on Giannis. But then now here we are Monday, the week of the NBA draft. There's Shams, 9 a.m.
And also ramped it up with real news, too. Not just talking about this,
right.
But he had the new coach of the Mavericks. He just recently had that first news with Trae Young staying in Washington. So, they're gearing him up. I think it's this time tomorrow we find out that this deal is done. I mean, it's done, but it gets announced this time tomorrow. The coverage of the draft starts at 8. Then ESPN will have 5 straight hours of lead up into the draft to talk about this major move, this blockbuster move. Yeah, no, it's in the books, but it's happening. It's announced tomorrow this time, I believe.
Can I just quickly say that this is awesome?
Yeah, it's great.
I think it's awesome, and it further emphasizes to me how bad baseball sucks. Because hockey's offseason is getting pretty good, too. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, we'll get to that here coming up in a second. But your thoughts. I for one, can't believe the Celtics are doing it. George in Rhode Island. Go, George.
Yeah, it's just saying, Felger, if you don't think Giannis is better than Brown, I mean, come on, you're crazy. I mean, come on, bye. I'll see you later. You're crazy.
Okay, I'm just telling you, it's kind of a scoreboard thing. And listen, I thought Brown let down at the very end. He gagged another Game 7 at home that he should have won. And I thought he carried himself poorly after the loss with his streams and all this. I'll bag on Jaylen Brown all day long for what I think he deserves. I also saw him lead a team this year that was second in the East. And since the Bucks have come off their championship now, whatever this was, 7 years ago? When was this? This was a while ago, 5 years ago. I don't think they've won more than a round. And they didn't even make the play-in last year. Giannis went down for it, but when he was healthy, they weren't any better.
How do you think the league looks at it?
The league, hands down, thinks Giannis is a better player. And
it's really not even close.
In a vacuum, all things being equal, 10 out of 10 teams, 10 out of 10 days would take Giannis over Jaylen Brown. I wouldn't. Call me a contrarian, but I've been saying this for a while, though, that I think Giannis is overrated. And I've said this. I said this after he won a title. I'd trade Giannis for Jason Tatum. Now I've added Jaylen Brown to the list. I think that'd be a great score for the Bucks. Like, they wouldn't even have to really go into that full tank mode. Yeah, they could flip Brown if they wanted to. Although Shams' reporting is that Brown would go nowhere. That he would go to Milwaukee. Give me that real quick. Number 3, if you could, Jimmy Stewart, this morning from Get Up on ESPN.
The Celtics and the Bucks have had lengthy conversations that involve Jaylen Brown going to Milwaukee. We don't know, at least I don't know, and I'll ask you, how Jaylen Brown would feel about that. What happens if we live in a world where they make that trade and Jaylen Brown doesn't want to be in Milwaukee?
All I'll say to you, Greeny, is if the Milwaukee Bucks go with the Boston Celtics offer, Jaylen Brown will be in Milwaukee.
Regardless of whether he wants to or not. And by the way, we also talked about...
That's all. Shams is sitting on more. Right, that comment, and if you watched it, he had the bleeping, a little smirk on his face there, which is, and they were all sort of snickering, because he's got it. He's got the story, and he's been embargoed. And that's just sort of another little clue to me. This is all I'm going to say, but trust me, Brown goes to Milwaukee. So anyway, that's what he's saying.
Do you think they'd flip him?
Well, maybe subsequently, but not immediately. If I'm the Bucks, I almost wouldn't. I just play it out from the middle because they can't. Their picks are all gone. They're either traded off or swaps. So if the Bucks get into the lottery and have the first overall pick, it's either that pick's either gone or they'd have to swap it with someone else's pick lower in the first. So they're tanking, the viability and the usefulness of them tanking isn't really high. So keep Jaylen Brown and be a good Eastern Conference team while you rake in all these draft picks and try and build from the middle. Do what OKC did. That's what I would do. Yes, Maz?
No, that'd be a good way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer that way for any team. The whole tanking thing, there's no guarantee. Maybe they got some sort of deal for him for a high pick, and they can take someone in this draft. He's got to have value on the market. He's a good player. He's generally healthy. None of his injuries have been serious.
Don and Carver, your thoughts?
I heard the words tiny testes, and that's my use. So I want to comment on Maz at the beginning of the show when he said that he felt confident that Brad, the Celtics organization, had a backup plan if the Giannis deal didn't go through. And I think that's relevant because Windhorse seemed to endorse that also. And I think that that could be as exciting as if the Jaylen Brown deal doesn't go through.
Is that even crazier? Taking on Giannis, paying him an extension. Is it even crazier to say if that falls through, they trade him in some sort of deal for Trey Murphy or something like this?
Ponies. Yeah, ponies. Look, again, so that tells me that they want to get rid of him. They want to move him. They don't want him here anymore for one reason or another. They don't want to pay him. They're tired of his attitude. He and Tatum aren't getting along. The coach hates him. I'm just telling you the possibilities. I don't know that all those things are true or untrue. I'm just telling you, if they don't trade him for Giannis and they trade him for something else, then they wanted to get rid of him.
The thought of Trey Murphy scared you last week, Mez. You still feel that way?
Well, because now, again, I see him as a replacement for Brown. I don't see him as a guy to add to Tatum and Brown is sort of what I meant at the time. Like, if you're adding Trey Murphy to Tatum and Brown, you're the same team. You just got another shooter. I mean, you're better, I guess.
He's another 6'9" wing who shoots the three well.
Right. He's a shooter. So from what I understand, he's probably a better shooter than anybody they have. That's my understanding of the player.
He attempts almost 9 3-pointers.
Yeah, so he's a shooter. His numbers, his 3-point percentage is high. It's like 39%, I think.
38 career.
Okay. So he is, they're going to want to play the same way. That's what scares me about Trey Murphy, is that they're going to want to play the same way.
Doesn't feel like that is much of a change in philosophy if you bring him in.
Exactly.
Dave in the car. Go, Dave.
80% of me really likes this deal. And don't get me wrong, I can't stand Jaylen Brown, but this just feels like when Phoenix and Brooklyn reached and just added in a bunch of superstars, and it just did not work. It feels similar.
Okay. I mean, it just feels like something I just don't see you doing. Just, it feels unstable or unduly risky. Or just sort of, I don't know, Jaylen Brown. I know this hasn't been perfect, but guy you drafted, you developed, has done right by you. You've done right by him. You're a strong organization. You sort of fancy yourself as different than everybody else. And you seem to me to be the kind of team that would say, well, let everybody speculate and carry on about Brown and Tatum. We know the truth, and we're going to go forward with the best duo in the NBA and let everybody else do the talking. And instead, you're going to flip half of that for a guy who's 2 years older and a big injury risk, and then pay him on top of that?
You've done right by him.
Big extension?
You think he feels that way with his name in yet another trade discussion for the third time in the last 4 years?
So Jaylen Brown doesn't feel like he's been done right by anybody.
Well, that much is true.
Perpetually aggrieved.
Yeah.
So
that's a good way to put
I mean,
it.
that he is. He's just aggrieved by everything. So you're definitely on the list. I would say to him, he hasn't had it that bad.
I would agree, but I'm just saying, if I'm in his shoes, again, as perpetually aggrieved as he continues to be, I'm thinking this is the last straw I want out. That's why this is happening, I think.
Luke in Vermont, one of the grand poobahs of the Green Team Nation. Your thoughts on trading out Jaylen Brown for Giannis in return?
Felger, I'm kind of with you. I am not anti-Jaylen Brown at all. I like Jaylen Brown a lot. I think he's really good. I think if you're starting a team, you could make an argument for Brown. I know I'm in the minority with that. I really, really believe Brown and Giannis are closer than people want to admit. That being said, it might be time to do it. I mean, it definitely balances the roster a lot better. With Horford and Porzingis gone, there's a big hole in the middle. And when you're playing guys like Towns, Embiid, Wemby, Jokic, they need somebody that's formidable down there. I think it balances the roster. And if Giannis is happy to be there and Brown doesn't want to be there, even if they're similar talent, you have to admit that just that alone could go a long ways if there is less tension, less conflict in the locker room.
Luke, and thanks for the call, buddy. If Giannis changes what he's become, yes. And that's not just off the floor, but that's a big part of it. He's got to go back to his roots of having to fight for everything and doing all the right things. He stood for so many of the right things early on in his career. It was great, refreshing, and loved him. And he has to revert to that, being a true team guy that worked harder than everybody else, showed up on time, outworked, and just cared, and the give a crap meter was through the roof and all of that. So he's got to get back to that. Off the floor, show up on time, don't be above the team. But on the floor, the thing about balancing out the roster, Maz, on the floor is just on paper. He doesn't play down there. He goes, he will drive the ball, end up down there, but he doesn't post up. They don't throw it to him in the low post very often. Mm-hmm. He tries to beat you off the dribble from the wing. Yep. And he gets there. Yes, he has a ton of points in the paint and a ton of dunks, the most in the league over the last 3-4 years. But it's not like he's Kareem or Bob Lanier or Robert Parrish starting down there. He doesn't, quote-unquote, play down low. He plays on the wing.
Okay, as long as he scores at the rim.
I guess.
I mean, they got to get easier buckets. And I think a big thing comes at the defensive end, too. That's me. I don't know. I go back to that. I'm just trying to piece it together. I told you, it's a massive risk. Massive. But the comment that Stevens made in that presser at the end of the year when he said something to the effect of, when Embiid was in the game, all of their defenders became better.
Yeah, that was excuse making.
Maybe.
I hated that.
But it's also probably true.
Now you can't beat Joel Embiid, one of the great losers of our time. It's just such a cop-out.
Okay, but you get a 7-footer at the rim, it changes everything. It was true when Porzingis was here. I mean, so that changes things. And I don't doubt that it was a cop-out, but I also think it's true. So maybe they just decided they can't win with 2 wings.
Well, that's a new development.
Definitely.
We continue with your thoughts on a re-entry Monday. Huge deal in the NHL that has some rub-off effect for you. We'll discuss that with your calls right after these words.
Oh, yeah!
Thoughts, calls, emails.
Oh, yeah!
I get my jollies out of it. I do. I'm not a good person. Go ahead.
Felger and Maz.
Oh, yeah!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Reports were confirmed on Sunday evening that Ottawa Senators captain Brady Tkachuk will be joining his brother Matthew in Sunrise, Florida, as a member of the Florida Panthers. Now, this trade does involve 3 first-round picks as well as a second-rounder. Now, Tkachuk, 26 years old, still has 2 seasons left on a 7-year, $57.5 million contract. The forward signed with the Sens back in 2021 with an annual average value of over $8.2 million. How did this deal come to fruition?
So let's go back to when Ottawa gets knocked out of the playoffs, Lauren. At that time, Brady Tkachuk didn't stay with his team after the game for excellent reason. His wife was pregnant. They were due. She gave birth to their second child about 14 hours after Ottawa lost that game. And so he didn't have an exit meeting with the rest of the Senators after they were knocked out of the playoffs. And so Steve Staios, the GM of the Senators, he flew to New Jersey where Tkachuk lives to meet with him. And they talked face to face. And during that conversation, Tkachuk has 2 years left on his contract. And he asked, would Ottawa have hope of keeping him? And I don't know that Tkachuk said flat out no, but whatever he said didn't give the Senators much confidence.
So Brady Tkachuk shot his way out of Ottawa, right down to Florida with his brother, which is fascinating. How do you like a line of Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Bennett?
I said off air to you guys, it's a rat colony down there. And I mean that in a complimentary manner. You know how fun it would be to root for that team? Those 3 and Marchand? Rats. Rats coming out your ears.
Better wear a second cup when you play that team.
Maz and Murray had an exchange on the email. Maz writes, I guess this is my question. Did the Bruins have any interest in Brady Tkachuk? Did he have any interest in them? Big Jim Murray responds thusly. Did Tkachuk have any interest in Boston? Bah ha 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 ha. That's a good one. And did these losers have any interest in him? Bah ha 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 ha. That would take balls, says Murray. And forward thinking. 2 things they're utterly incapable of ever possessing in that front office of theirs. Maz and Murray, your thoughts?
Go ahead, Murray.
Well, so for one, I was reading from Elliot Friedman. They were the Senators were given a list of teams that Brady Tkachuk would go to. Florida, obviously, Carolina, Minnesota, and Vegas. So pretty clear he wanted to go to a team that actually knows how to win. So Boston was never going to be considered.
I don't know why he's choosing Minnesota, but go ahead.
But they're on the come. I mean, that's a yeah. I mean, look, they've never done.
They have been for a decade.
Apparently, he and Hughes are Quinn Hughes are tight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Americanos.
So, and it's also clear that the camaraderie that they had both in the Four Nations and Team USA. Like he wants to be whether his brother or Hughes, whoever.
Surprised he doesn't have that same affinity for Charlie McAvoy. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I know. And just the Bruins. They're never going to do anything big. The one title's their anomaly.
So,
I just this was never going to happen. I wanted it to. You would always bring it up. I was always in full support of this.
I think the Bruins would have done this.
Oh, I think they would have. I don't think he would have.
And I think that I know we like to mock them, but I think on their better days they are a destination. They are over like much of the league. Like I wouldn't say that players would pick them over Vegas and Florida, which are like the hot destinations now. But when they were at the top of the Eastern Conference, like. Taylor Hall shot his way here. Like, guys want to come here. It is a destination in the league. That's unfair to say that no one wants to come here. Right now, given the choice between the 8-seeded Bruins and Boston or Massachusetts and the taxes versus Florida, like everyone wants to go to Florida and Vegas now. Like you're behind those teams for sure. especially if his effing brother's down there. Like, you don't stand a chance. But I do think the Bruins would have done this. Get 3 first-round picks.
Well, right, and they had the collateral to do it.
Florida. Okay, so Florida has, is it the 13th pick? Florida has a much better pick this year because they sucked. 9th. So Florida had the 9th pick. Boston doesn't have that. What they have is 3 unprotected in 2028, which is one of Florida's, one of Toronto's, and theirs. So you could say if they packaged up all those 28 unprotected picks, they could have beaten the Florida offer.
What if they included Hagens?
So, good point. If they had gone Hagens, Toronto's unprotected, does that better? Again, Florida offered 9 this year, their first round next year, and a second round next year. So Boston could have bettered that with Hagens and some of their first round picks. It would have taken an extra first round pick because, again, Florida just gave them a top 10 pick for this one. But either way, I think the Bruins would have done this. I think I know Brady Tkachuk had a no trade clause and he wasn't going to green light it probably to any. Even though he gave a list, it was Florida or nothing would probably be the deal there.
Silver lining of this, though, but maybe someone like David Pastrnak or McAvoy or the goalie now recognizes, hey, I can shoot myself out of town and go somewhere else. Please, I beg of you, one of those 3, especially the goalie, that you can now realize you can go to the team and say, hey, I'd like to go somewhere else, please. Ship me out.
What the Bruins don't have the balls to do is trade one of their established guys in a real hockey trade. I think they trade draft picks and young players because I don't think they particularly care for draft picks or young players. They want to win now and keep their jobs and home playoff dates and all the things we've talked about. So I think they're sackless in terms of that. I don't think they're going to trade Swayman. They should. I don't think they'd, try and shoot high and trade McAvoy for a big return. They're sackless to do that. They would trade draft picks for Brady Tkachuk. I think they would have done that yesterday.
Sure. I mean, they have a history of doing it.
And on their better days, I think they would have had a chance to get him. It's just it doesn't time out for him. But that's kind of a scary thought down there in Florida, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh. Talk about a bunch of animals. Seriously, that is like freaking Delta House down there.
For Hagee, Barkov, Reinhart, Brady Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk. Marchand's on their 3rd line.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You got a bunch of nut grabbers on there.
Why am I blanking on the defenseman? Seth Jones, like everything they got back in there. Pretty scary. Why did Ottawa do this? Number 2. Give me Friedman number 2 if you could, Jimmy, please.
Any time that this topic got raised, Tkachuk's future, it became a firestorm in the local market. And there's passionate hockey fans in Ottawa. It became a distraction in the community. It became a distraction in the dressing room. And the moment this got out, and I think it would have gotten out pretty shortly if the trade didn't happen today, then it was going to make it even crazier. And I just don't think the Senators wanted to deal with that. And I don't think they felt it was good for their team. Now, they were given a list of 4. It was Carolina, Florida, Minnesota, Vegas, but from what I understand, it became pretty clear Brady's choice, and he had a no-move clause, was to go to Florida with his brother, Matthew. And ultimately, I think Ottawa just decided to make the best deal they could and get it over with, and that's what they did. And now I think they're going to use the picks they got to try to add, because a lot of their players are still in their primes, and I just don't think rebuilding makes a lot of sense to them right now.
Yeah, they were in a massive long rebuild. They just kind of broke through and became a playoff team again. They can't do anything once they get there, but they're not going back to the bottom. So they're gonna flip those picks, I think. One more. Even the Senators acknowledge, or everyone acknowledges, they did not get equal value. Number 3, Jimmy.
It's a disappointing day for the Senators and their fans, but you have to move on, right?
Yeah.
And, obviously they didn't get equal value. I think everybody knows that, but they were up against it. And so the way I look at it is judge them by where they go from here. They're going to turn their team over to Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson. And the thing is, those guys are locked in on really good value contracts by NHL standards, especially with the cap exploding, and they're still young. They've got a lot of great years ahead of them. So that's why I don't believe that Ottawa is done. I think they will look at this as, we had to do this. We don't like we had to do it, but now we have some things that we can do to add. And I don't think they're done. I think they will try to add. And that Atlantic, Lauren, look at that division. That thing's going to be a bear next year with Florida signaling that they're back after missing the playoffs. And I think Ottawa's going to say it doesn't benefit us to rebuild, not where we are with a lot of our players currently.
I think it does increase the Bruins porking next year.
Oh.
Florida's going to be back.
Oh, my gosh. And you know what? From that standpoint, too, the Panthers are bringing in someone, aside from being Tkachuk's brother, a guy who hasn't won.
Yeah, there's going to be hunger.
Right? It's going to mean something to him. So he's going to just inject some life into there because these guys have won a couple of cups now, and they need someone to come in who hasn't.
Okay, there's that story. Here's the update from Big Jim Murray, and we're right back.
Now, more of Felger and Maz on the Sports Hub.
What does this mean for Florida? Or should we be scared if you're a fan of the East?
Oh, it's like you look at those forwards, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a forward group, and they're gonna have Barkov back and healthy, and he looked good at the World Championships. Looking at all these names, and that's a scary group. Their D's pretty good too. All their guys are going to get healthy. The one question is going to be in goal. I've heard it's unlikely that Bobrovsky is going to be back. I think you should never guarantee anything this offseason the way it's going, but I think it's unlikely he's going to be back. So I wonder what they're going to do in goal.
Oh, interesting. You mean the Panthers are actually going to put their money into the roster and not in net? Oh, interesting. Bobrovsky's up, apparently. He had one of the biggest contracts in the sport. He's done. Becomes a free agent next week, and they're not going to bring him back.
Adios. He's 37.
Thank you. Go cheap. Go cheap in net. And if they really go cheap in net, do they have room for actually something more? Brady Tkachuk and something else?
Think they'd want Jeremy Swayman?
If they're smart. Why?
I'm just asking.
They're trying to win.
They're trying to win. Why would they want...
Very good.
Why would they want to tie up payroll with that house of pain in net? They don't need a expensive goalie to win. They haven't needed it in the past, even though they've won with Bobrovsky. He wasn't.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about like the attitude again, the rat colony that is the Florida Panthers, and he walks in with his stupid acoustic guitar. You guys going to hear camp?
No, it's a Animal House.
It would never work.
Belushi smashes it against the wall.
Withdrawn might be a bad fit.
They're going to go low. They're going to go cheap and net as they should, and let their team win on the ice. You don't have to win in net anymore. Best team wins, not best goalie.
They got a guy, one of their goalies on their roster, Cooper Black, 25. He's 6'8". Pad him up and put him in. You'll be fine.
Pat him up, put him on his knees, just tell him to sit there.
Fatten him up this summer.
Tom and Quincy, your thoughts?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, as much as I would have loved the Bruins to get someone like Brady Tkachuk, they were never going to be in it anyway. And have you guys starting to see, like, all these players that want out of their teams, was it be it Dylan Larkin or Tkachuk, they have the same 4 teams on the wish list. It's all the same thing. And I don't know if you guys heard McCone and Zoe earlier. They had Ty Anderson on, and he was saying that there's like a big push in the NHL for American players to get out of Canada. I don't know what it's all about, but it seems like there was this huge bond between all these guys that played on the USA team.
Awesome.
That they're looking to get back to the USA to play with the guys that they were on that roster with. I think it's cool, but I'm not sure what you guys think about that.
I'm all into it. I mean, I guess it's a little silly, but if it benefits the Bruins, I'd take it. The Panthers, even with Brady Tkachuk on the roster and Bobrovsky off, still have $7 million in cap space. So look out. They're not done.
Oh, wow.
They're going to add something good.
They're going to be loaded. And that team's going to be a freaking bar fight every night.
Go low in net. Pretty simple philosophy there. Sean in Salem, what do you got on the Jaylen Brown stuff?
You know, I think Brown ultimately now wants out of Boston. Things would sort of run its course. And I'm shocked that more teams aren't in on this now. Like, if you were trying to build a team through the draft, don't you think Jaylen Brown is like the best player in the NBA to be a veteran presence, to lead the locker room on and off the court? I think that's where Jaylen Brown is the best version of himself, and ultimately he enjoys doing it. And I think that's ultimately where, you know, he came to that conclusion after all this, that he sort of wants out of there. But I really wouldn't be surprised if someone sort of steps in now that it's really known that he's on the market. What do you think about that?
That someone else is going to step in for Jaylen Brown? Not if Milwaukee says yes. I don't know. Do you think Jaylen Brown's a hot commodity around the league, Mass?
No, I don't. I think the perception of Jaylen Brown in the league is less than what we have of him here.
Yes, especially, we haven't even mentioned this today, but I think it's a big backdrop if he wants that extra 2 years picked up.
Definitely.
On his extension. So now he's got 3 left at Supermax dollars. Then you got to pick up 2 more at Supermax dollars and pay him through his age 34 season. I can't imagine there's a lot of teams banging down the door for that.
No, I think the league looks at him and says, good player, not a great player, and certainly not as good as he thinks he is. Because, again, the big thing in that league is about being able to handle double teams and be the focal point of the offense. And if Brown can't do that to the league, he's a number 2.
Chris in California on the Giannis thing. Go ahead, Chris.
So I am not in favor of trading Jaylen Brown for Giannis. What I'm wondering is if it's just all a smokescreen, and I don't know if this is financially possible or not, but, getting Giannis without trading Jaylen Brown, something like Derek White, Hugo,
Chris
Hauser, a bunch of draft picks, yada, yada, yada.
I'm with you.
And then have a 1 to 2 year window of Giannis, Tatum, and Brown.
Got it. I'm going to stop you. I thought it was a smokescreen until Shams showed up today. I was fully ready to go with smokescreen and, just the Celtics getting in there to see if they could steal Giannis for less than Jaylen Brown, drive up the price on the Heat. Then the Celtics turn around after Giannis goes to Miami and say, you idiots thought we were in on Giannis and all that. I was ready for all of that. I allowed for all of that. When Shams Charania shows up at 9 a.m. first thing Monday morning and says Brown has been inserted into the deal, the game's up. They've inserted Brown into the deal. It's over.
I mean, that's what it feels like.
There's no smokescreen.
No, unless the Bucks do something or have done something that is completely unpredictable. Brown's the best player that has been offered up from either team.
I don't know if the deal's done. I just know they've offered Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Shams Charania, gold standard reporter, draft week, lead NBA information guy on ESPN, the sister network that just had the finals, just has the draft. They're not going to allow him to go on air in that position with that partnership with bad intel on that one. Not going to happen. The smoke screen is over. They offered Jaylen Brown for Giannis. Chuck and Taunton on the Bees. Quick.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Talk about the Bruins. I knew they were not going to be on Brady Tkachuk because obviously you just want to play here. Like you said, these guys have the teams they want to go to, whether it's Minnesota, Vegas, Florida.
Yes, Chuck. So, what's the point?
My point is the Bruins, I just want to talk about how cheap they are. And the scouting department is like probably one of the worst in the league. They're probably one of the least manned scouting departments because most of them are just focused in the Boston area because most of the draft picks, they draft somebody that's going to go to the colleges around the Boston area because they don't want to pay.
Okay, I'm with you on that, Chuck. I'm just going to stop you before we go too far. I wonder about their scouting travel budget since they just keep drafting BC kids. I'm with you on that. I say that only half joking. I don't think their quote-unquote cheapness is a story right now. They've overspent. You look at their roster, they've spent way too much on guys they shouldn't be spending on. Never mind guys who are, good, like Swayman. And I say that, in all fairness. Swayman's good. It's pointless to pay a goalie now. But that doesn't explain Elias Lindholm, Hampus Lindholm, etc. It's one stiff after the next they've overpaid. You don't need to. Cheapness is not their problem right now. At all. So you're just barking up the wrong. You're talking it's a Bruins take from a bygone era. That's not the story. The story is, how do they improve? How do they improve out of the middle? And I think if it's not Brady Tkachuk, they'd be willing to take all those draft picks and trade it for someone else. I don't think they have any interest in a long, slow rebuild through the draft. That doesn't keep their jobs. What keeps their jobs is making the playoffs and producing home playoff dates for the Jacobs. And
I'd be shocked if they use all those picks.
So I bet you they made a call on Brady Tkachuk. I bet you they were told in no uncertain terms Brady's not going to go there, and so don't bother. But they'll try the next guy. And I'm not ruling out something big in the next week because I like I said, I think those picks are up for sale. Long commercial-free segment comes your way right after this.
Boston's best sports talk. You can count on it.
2 plus 2 is a 5.
Me sento un po' pacchiato perché Roma è le usanze.
And let's see if the Giants do send Jonah Cox out there. They're gonna.
Great at bat. 0-2 to 3-2 to walk.
And Devers is trying to send Cox back to the dugout.
Not happy.
He literally waved him away.
He did.
He does not want any part of a...
He didn't want anybody touching him either. He's a little ticked.
One more item here from the weekend. It being a re-entry Monday. Baseball thought here. I mean, you've seen this clip or not. Rafi Devers, in a ninth-inning game, draws a walk. The Giants down a run. The Giants send in a pinch runner, and he waves him off, tries to get him off the field, literally waving him back to the dugout. The player has already been announced, so he can't go back. He takes over for Rafi Devers as a pinch runner. Rafi Devers takes his helmet off, puts it over his mouth, and screams into his helmet, and then storms into the dugout, and there you go. Maz, your thoughts on this situation?
And one of the coaches tried to pat him on the ass, and Devers moved out of the way, so the guy missed him. So one of the biggest dick petulant moves I've seen by a big league ball player, let alone one who's making $30 million a year, to do on the field and embarrass basically his entire franchise, fan base, and uniform. Shameful. Completely, utterly shameful. Makes the Red Sox look good. And if I were the...
Which is annoying.
Yeah, and if I were the Giants, I would suspend them for insubordination. Basically, the manager... first of all, once the guy comes out of the dugout, it's over. You can't reverse it. Okay, the managers put the guy in the game. We're sending a pinch runner out. You've announced it. Here he comes. And Devers says, no, stop. And he waved his finger at the dugout, basically held up.
Shook his finger at the dugout, waved the player back to the...
Correct.
I mean,
as childish as it gets.
It's a trade me now move. Just like it was here. I'm not playing first base. So it's now 2 of these in 2 years. Where do you want to play then? It's clear he's been miserable there since he got there. He didn't want to be here. Once that whole Bregman thing happened, didn't want to play first base. Where does he want to play?
I mean, good grief. He's not a good runner on his best day. He's also been nursing like a knee injury or something, hasn't he?
Apparently. I don't know the whole history with his injury, but they said he's been running better this year, but whatever. I mean, he's, again, they should suspend him. I'd suspend the guy.
100%.
Yeah, I would. I'd suspend the guy. I think that is, to me, once you start showing up your manager and your teammates on the field, get the hell out of here. Seriously, enough with that crap. Get lost.
Second baseball item, we'll just do it here quickly. I think we all got a chuckle off the headline in the Boston Globe and the story in the Boston Globe over the weekend entitled, Sonny Gray, quote, open for a conversation, end quote, with Red Sox about no trade clause. Do you think, Maz, he's quote unquote open for a conversation, or do you think he's beating down the door saying, get me the hell out of here?
Get me out. Get me out. Get me out of this freaking rat hole. I'm out of here.
No trade clause. I'll go anywhere other than here. Just get me out.
I mean, think of it. He first of all, he waived his no trade to come here in the first place. Now he's been here less than 3 months.
Mistake. I'm
Get
done. I'm out. But when Tim Healy of the Globe comes, he says, yes, I'd be open to the conversation. Translation, get me the hell out of here now.
Exactly. He's pounding the drum already. Like, yeah, I'd be open to it.
Open? My bags are packed. Just tell me where to go. Please, get me the hell out of here.
I'll pay my own way.
Quote, if someone came to me from the Red Sox and made a decision that that's the direction that this team was going to go, I'd be open for a conversation, Gray told the Globe. Whatever happens from then, only time will tell, but I would be open for a conversation. Holding veto power, quote, is an earned thing and means a lot, Gray said. He negotiated it into the deal he signed with the Cardinals heading into 2024. When St. Louis's new executive, Chaim Bloom, came to him at the end of last season, said he wanted to trade Gray, Gray told him the teams that he would consider. I really like Chaim. Like talking to him, said Gray. I thought he was easy to talk to. And after that, then yes, I sent him a list that I would be willing to consider and then just go from there. Healy writes, the Braves likely will be in the market for rotation upgrades. Atlanta is driving distance from Nashville, where Gray lives in the offseason and where his family is based during the season. Would geography factor into Gray waiving his no-trade clause? Quote, don't necessarily want to look too far into that, but it's a fair question, he said. Translation?
Get me to Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yep, exactly right.
But really, at this point, I think he'd go anywhere.
Oh, definitely anywhere but here.
The Nippon Ham Fighters. If whatever it takes to get the hell out of this place.
He'd go back to the Yankees. And that place gave him like post-traumatic stress disorder, for crying out loud. He would go back to there before he wants out of here so fast. See, I blame the Globe for the headline. Sonny Gray. It should say Gray,
wants out.
I want out. That should have been the headline of the story. Seriously, can't get out of here fast enough.
Reentry Monday. Your thoughts on whatever you want continues. You're all lined up right to your calls after Big Jim Murray gets you updated here. 90 seconds, no commercials.